Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pizza and Property. My name is Todd Sloan, and today we're going to be talking about the importance in monitoring your cash flow. But it's not directly through yield or it's not directly through interest rates, but it's something that still drastically affects your bottom line. Because if you've been thinking about maybe renovating your property, you go, actually, let's start increasing this cash flow and let's start making this yield a little bit more attractive, offsetting a bit of that negative gearing. You might have been getting a few different quotes, but as Marcus Aurelius probably never said, because I'm making it up, not all quotes are created equal. And today we're going to be talking with Oliver Jackson about a story that I thought he was lying, to be completely honest, when he first told me. It sounds that ridiculous, but I wanted to bring this to light for you guys because I think it's so important to make sure that when you're actually trying to do everything you can to boost forward your portfolio and really push things in the right direction, you're not being taken for a ride because of some insane quote. And in this case too. But anyway, I'll let Oliver tell the story. Right now, let's jump into this episode with Oliver Jackson from Living Property. Oliver Jackson, spreading the love, mate. How are you?
Mate, I am always fantastic. It's always good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's good to have you back on the show. You're a bit of a regular. Now, we're going to be talking about a story that you and I were chatting about on the phone the other day that I just thought more people need to hear this, because I think right now there's such a variation in trade prices. And if people are new to property, it could be quite easy to not just pay a little bit of a premium, but like get properly stung. So before I start telling your story, mate, do you mind jumping in and sort of setting the stage with what happened?
Yeah, so I think this would happen quite regularly. So we have a client. We were doing a renovation for them. It was a simple renovation, paint, lights, floors, no kitchen, no bathroom, just a simple reno. It was in regional Queensland. So I said to the property manager, can you just go grab a couple of paint quotes for me? We'll go from there.
Okay.
So the first quote came in at $35,000.
So how big is this house?
It was a 2-story house, 4-bedroom, about 250 square meters.
Okay, so decent size, but not huge.
Yeah, it's not a mansion.
Yeah.
So she got that one for $35,000. She actually told the real estate agent who I bought the property off the price, and he's like, he didn't tell me, but he told her that's ridiculous. So she went back and got another quote for $27,000.
Okay.
And then she's meant to come back to me so I could check it off. She sent that quote directly to the client and myself. And she thought it was a bargain because she was saving $8,000.
Yeah.
My client instantly rang me and he's like, what is going on? This is insane. Is that real? So this guy had just done a renovation. So he actually had an idea. Then I went and got my own quote for $9,000.
Out of interest, because that's already a whopping change, and let's dive into that in a second, but how'd you kind of like handle that as well, talking to someone that's already done a reno and then they're going, what are you smoking, mate? Why are you giving me $27,000 quotes?
Well, he came to me because of my renovation side of my business, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. She wasn't meant to send you that. Everything was meant to come through me. Yeah. I was just getting her to see if she could get a couple, and then I was going to go and get a couple. So I got one very quickly.
And that was $9,000.
9,000.
And same job. We're not talking that there was no variations to that.
The $35,000 one didn't include ceilings. I'm not joking.
And so as far as like the solution, the takeaway for people here, like so you solved this by leaning on your network, by getting literally one more quote, or you got like 10 more quotes? Like,
I got one quote for a painter that I've used multiple times.
Yep.
I was just getting her to start the process. So go get some paint quotes. Let's get them back in. Let's get some, 3 or 4 quotes, because I could go straight to my guy and get 9,000, but most clients want to see at least a couple, even if you're going to go with that guy no matter what.
It's understandable.
So I got her, just go and grab a couple extra ones, even though I already knew I was going to use that guy. And that's why I use that guy. He was fast. He did it in 3 days. The reason people trades do this, like massive prices, one, because they're too busy. They don't have the time. So they're like, we'll just price it ridiculous, and then they'll leave us alone, but they'll keep us on the books. So the property manager will keep them on the books for down the track if they want to use them. But they're too busy right now. So they're like, all right, 35 grand. So that's why a lot of tradies do it.
Have you ever just asked the question directly and said, like, have you just priced this too high because you're too busy?
Yeah, that's what he said. I rang him.
Oh, so he actually just admitted it?
Yeah. He's like, oh, we're so busy.
Why not just say we're so busy?
Because he wants to still get a call next time.
Right. So if he says I'm too busy, he's not getting the phone in.
He won't get the call to come and quote it, even though it's a ridiculous price.
That's a strange system, but okay.
That's how tradies work.
Okay. All right. So if someone's finding themselves in a similar situation, let's say they're either renovating now or they're about to start renovating, and they're like, well, I don't want to get this kind of problem as well. Like, what are a few solutions that someone can do?
It's quite hard if you don't know what you're doing with renovation. Like if you just buy a house and you go and get it renovated and you've never done it before, like I came from a construction background, so I have trades I know, people I used to either work with or their friends in other areas.
Yep.
If you have no idea what's going on, you have to use a property manager or someone to do it for you. And that's when these kind of things happen. So ideally you get a project manager to run the whole project for you. They're going to charge you 10 or 20%, but the problem is you've got to find a good project manager because sometimes they could charge you more and you don't know. They might charge you 30%.
Yeah, okay. So 10 or 20%, pretty average for you?
Pretty standard, yeah.
Yep, okay.
We personally don't charge project management fees, but there's renovation companies that actually just straight do project management. Or let's say you're doing a renovation in Adelaide and you live in Brisbane. Look for people you know in Brisbane that have done similar renovations and ask them how much they paid for their stuff. Like how much did you pay for your painting? 2 or 3 people you might know.
Are you talking like just knock on the door styles?
No, everyone knows someone that's done something, don't they? Like someone who's painted their house or renovated it. And then let's say if you're going regional, it's going to cost more money. It always does because there's less trades. They can charge higher prices. But if your friend got a house painted in Brisbane for $6,000, then you're getting charged $35,000 and it's 600 kilometres away.
Yeah. It's time to become a painter.
100%. I think we're in the wrong game.
Yeah. All right, so look for a project manager, 10%, 20%. That's about sort of standard for what their fees would be, but still obviously being careful you're actually getting a good project manager. Or if you're looking for other trades, other people that have done renos and kind of just getting a feel for what they paid. Yep. If there's a bit of a difference because you're regional or in another state, that's decent. But if it's double or triple, well, it's time to keep looking.
I actually don't understand how people that don't know anything about renovations do renovations.
Expensively.
Yeah. They're really expensively.
Yeah.
Like, it was a $400,000 house and 10% to paint the house is ludicrous.
Yeah, I got a few stories that you and I can talk about up there with that. But mate, Oliver Jackson from Living Property, thank you so much for jumping on the show again, man. I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
I mean, that's just nuts, right? Like $35,000 to like $9,000. Personally, I probably would have just painted the walls myself for like $1,000. But I know, obviously, that is not always an option. And sometimes even if you can, it's not the best option anyway. But I understand that there's a difference between quotes, but that's just insanity. And like I said, the reason I really wanted to bring this to everyone's mind is because it's not just about the potential of going, maybe I'm going to be paying too much, but it's for all of you out there that may have got a huge quote for something. It's obviously not just painting. This is across the board. And thought, you know what, maybe I'll just leave that. When maybe there actually is another trade out there or another person that is just going to do it so much more cost effectively, which could then potentially be the thing that increases your yield, increasing your cash flow, making things better for you to move forward and actually grow your portfolio. At the end of the day, that's why we're all here. That's what this whole podcast is about, showing you from every different angle the most effective strategies, the most influential people we've got in the country to build a property portfolio. And I think this is just one aspect of it that is so important to keep an eye on. But guys, that is enough from me. My name is Todd Sloan. This is the Pizza and Property Podcast. And as always, have yourself an amazing rest of the week. Stay awesome.